Sean McVay, coach of the Rams, getting ready for Sunday Night Football. Andy Dalton, the starter. We all expect to see a Justin Fields package. Question is, how long will Andy Dalton be the starter? Well, at least for 1 week. So it'll be Dalton, maybe some Fields. They're getting ready for it. They would be stupid not to, and that's one of the benefits of having two completely different quarterbacks with two different styles. It puts a little pressure on the opposing defense to get ready. So the Bears, whenever we see Fields, whatever they do, let's start with them as we look at the NFC North win totals as provided by the PointsBet Sportsbook. Over-under for Chicago, which went 8-8 last year and got into the playoffs courtesy of the 7th spot that debuted in 2020. 7.5 wins, Chris. You going over or are you going under?
I'm going under here. I am. I can't get behind the Chicago Bears quite yet. I can't. There's just too many questions to me. So, I mean, not that I think it's going to be, like, egregiously under. Like, I think 7 and 10, you know. I mean, yeah, certainly 8 and 9 is something I thought of. But if you're going to make me choose one or the other, I am going to choose the under. You know, I think the first thing is NFC North plays the AFC North and the NFC West, right? That's what jumps out to me more than anything, okay? And, of course, they got to play the Packers twice in their division, and I don't necessarily think they're, like, I mean, the Vikings game's going to be tough too. So, I don't know. Again, last year they were one of the underwhelming teams we ever saw get into the playoffs. And, you know, other than Tampa Bay last year, they didn't really beat any really good teams. I mean, so I don't, like, sit here and go, oh, man, like, watch out. I mean, they were underwhelming last year, and I got questions about them this year. They've had some coaching changes. They got the quarterback issues. I'm going under.
For a team that's been to the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years,
I know.
It's amazing how we just look at the Bears and shrug and kind of make a face and say, yeah, they're not going to be very good. They still could be. They do it in kind of a sneaky way, and so much of it depends upon whether or not Dalton works out at quarterback. And Matt Nagy told Albert Breer over the weekend that with Dalton, they want to see how the team produces with him on the field. They evaluated him individually in the preseason when he played. They're happy with what he did. They're happy with how he runs the offense. But it all comes down to what the team does, what he's able to get the team to do. And whether it's Fields, whether it's Dalton, I think for the Bears, this is all about trying to take a step back now, laying the foundation to get Fields ready for 2022 and beyond. And it may be that they sail over 7.5 wins once Fields gets up to speed. And for them, ideally, they've found their Patrick Mahomes. That's the only way they're ever going to live down not taking Patrick Mahomes in 2017 is to get one of their own, and they're trying to set this up for Fields to be that guy. Packers. So I'm with you. I'm under.
Okay.
This year.
Just want to
Packers,
make sure. Yeah.
2 straight years of 13-3. Now 17 games. The over-under is only 10.5. Only. Are they trying to fool us here? How could it be that low, Chris, for the Green Bay Packers?
I don't know. I mean, I'm going over here. I am. You know, again, I don't know if I'm expecting 14-3 or 13-4, but 10.5 is just too low. I mean, first off, I think the division is not all that special, you know, so I think they'll be able to control and dominate their own division. I understand that, again, that they got to play the AFC North and the NFC West, but I'm still looking at more than 10.5 games there, certainly. I mean, with the way Rodgers and that offense is built, I know we don't have Bakhtiari back from injury yet, but still, good offensive line. You know, I can't imagine them being any worse, really, than 11-6. I don't. This is still a very good quality football team. You know, new defensive staff, new defensive coordinator in Joe Barry. You know, got a young corner in the first round. Hopefully he can help out. But I still think they're one of the better teams in the NFC, and I'm going to pick over here for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I will as well, even though it is concerning when you consider that NFC West, AFC West gauntlet that all teams in that division are going to run.
And there's
Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Very underrated at 13-3 each of the first 2 years of his coaching career, with all the issues and distractions and dysfunction that they do a good job for the most part of keeping under wraps, except for this most recent offseason. For LaFleur to have that steady hand and get the team to where it's at, I don't think we can take that for granted, right. And I think he'll find a way to do it this year. Vikings at 9 as the win total. I prefer when it's half, because I could see 9-8 out of Minnesota this year. What do you think? Are you over or are you under the Vikings winning 9 games?
This one almost falls into the category of, like, I think they were smoking crack again. I don't know. I don't see it. I got to, again, I know.
Let us know. Folks in London, who are watching, please let us know. Email me, Florio@ProFootballTalk.com. Did they bleep smoking crack?
Okay.
Either when he said it or when I just said it.
Okay, that'll be good to know. But yes, I just have too many question marks about the Vikings football team. Yes, it's a new offensive coordinator in Clint Kubiak. I know it's the same system, but it's still a new guy running the offense. Offensively, it's just all so centric about the run game and the bootlegs. And I don't know. I guess I'm a little scared of the offense being able to produce the same magic it did last year. The defense, a little bit better, but I don't look at it to go, oh, wow, it's going to be a whole lot better, Mike. So, I'm going under here. I do not look at this as a very talented division right now in the NFC North.
I'm taking push on this one. Okay. I'm not going to go over or under. If it's not going to be half, we got to reserve the right to push. 9-8 is what I think they're going to do. And somebody asked me yesterday, if the Vikings don't make it to the playoffs, what happens with Mike Zimmer and what happens with Rick Spielman? I think Zimmer's in real trouble if they don't make it to the playoffs this year because the expectations are high, and he's making them high. He has said multiple times, I think we got a pretty good team. We just have to go out and prove it. Well, you know what that statement does? It saves Spielman, who put the pretty good team together, and it puts Zimmer in the crosshairs if they don't get to where they need to be. Now, the problem is they got an unvaccinated quarterback who will not reconsider his position, and if Kirk Cousins misses a game or two, there goes the playoffs. Potentially. Because they're always good enough to be in that mid-December. Yeah. The planets are aligning. Are they going to catch a few breaks? Are they going to win a few games late and find a way into the postseason? They're always in that discussion. I don't think they're going to be dominant because I have concerns about the offense. The defense, I think, is a lot better. But the offense, it feels sluggish and regressed. And it's going to come down to December. Maybe they can find a way to the postseason. If they don't, though, there could be some changes in Minnesota come 2022.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a big year, definitely. And Zimmer, I mean, I understand why he's making those comments. I mean, he wants to give his own team belief that we got talent and the coaching staff and everybody like that to go, there's something here. We just got to go out and do it now. But it was a little underwhelming in the preseason, definitely. I mean, concerning. I know they're going to be better defensive tackles. They got more size with Dalvin Tomlinson and Michael Pierce being there. And, they're going to be different there. And, of course, Barr and Kendricks are awesome. Secondary, I still think has questions, though. You got a lot of young, unproven guys there other than Harris and Smith. So, there's questions, too many questions with that football team. And not that I think they're going to be horrible or anything like that. Like you said, I think they're in the mix, but I just see more of the 7-9, 8-9, 7-10, 8-9 type of record more than anything above that.
Defense, I really do think is going to be a lot better. It was horrible last year, so the bar is low. They will have fans at their home games this year,
true.
Which will be a huge difference. The offense, though, is the concern. We haven't seen Dalvin Cook in the preseason. He's going to be a big key to this. And they haven't really unleashed the offense. It's easy to become concerned with an offense that didn't look good in the preseason when you're not using your best players and you really haven't turned it loose. Why turn it loose? Let's turn it loose Sunday in Cincinnati. And, hey, if they can go and put a hard check mark in the box week one, this is a game they should win by double digits if they're going to be good. If they're going to be good, they should win it by double digits. A great litmus test right out of the gates for whether or not the Vikings are going to have anything this year because they should make quick work of the Bengals if this team is going to be as good as Mike Zimmer thinks. The Lions, bottom of the division for good reason. 4.5 wins over under. Which way are you going with them?
I'm going under here as well. I think 4 wins is a good year for the Lions. When you take into account that they're totally rebuilding their football team, it's a whole new staff. They're not expected, or nor are they, one of the more talented teams in their own division. They're the least talented team. They're kind of trying to find an identity. And then we talked about their schedule, too. I mean, of course, it's tough. I mean, yes, you look at their schedule, there's nothing there you look at to just go, well, they should beat that team. Okay, they're better than the Bengals, or they're as good in week 6. All the games before that, there's nobody there you're like, oh, they're definitely better than. okay, maybe they could pull something off against the Bears or the Vikings. But I think both those teams are still better. But, yeah, it's not going to be easy for them with those first 3 games, 49ers, Packers, Ravens. Not going to build much confidence in those ones. I have a hard time thinking they won't start out 0-3. Yeah, I think 4-13 is a good year for the Lions the way I look at it right now.
I know every fan of every team wants to go into every season thinking there's hope of everything working out and getting to the playoffs. And I understand that. And part of what we do is we point to the reasons why there should be hope. But at some point, we got to be realistic. This is a long rebuild. And anytime you make dramatic culture changes, you can't revamp the roster like that to get it to the point where your new culture needs it to be. That's why the last regime with Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia struggled. They didn't have enough cycles to get a bunch of guys with the Patriots mindset in Detroit. Now they pivot to this old school rough and tumble Chris Spielman style, and Spielman's got a lot more influence over this team than folks realize. It's going to take some time to get the kneecap biters that Dan Campbell's looking for.
Yeah.
So I would expect nothing this year if I'm a Lions fan and be happy with anything I get.
Yeah, I think that's the positive way. You just want to see, hey, some of the young talent, does DeAndre Swift continue to take the next step? You know, does Hawkinson, the tight end, who looks like he's a budding star, how does he look? Amon-Ra St. Brown, hey, let's evaluate Jared Goff. Are we going to be – is he good enough to be our quarterback of the future, or is this one of those things where it's underwhelming and we're in the quarterback draft conversation next year? I think that's where it all goes, 100%. Yeah, they did a really good job in the draft and free agency, at least getting some of the guys I think that fit the mold of their football team. Now, yeah, it's teaching young guys how to win and that culture and everything you've talked about and discussed there, and that's not an easy process, especially going from what they are to what they were. It's dramatic. I mean, yes, it was New England, pencil pusher, nerdy type guy, and now it's barroom kneecap brawler, right? With a totally different attitude of the football team. So I don't expect like a magical turnaround overnight.
But if it works and if they can find the players they need to do what it is that Campbell wants to do, they could finally turn it around. Eventually,
yeah.
Lions fans, it will happen. At some point, I know it's been a long 60 years. Eventually, it will happen.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.